My name is Sarah. I'm 26, and I work as a certified public accountant for one of Chicago's largest pharmaceutical companies. I've always prided myself on being level-headed, observant, and good at reading people skills that serve me well in both spreadsheets and life. My husband Ben is the complete opposite. Trusting, gentle, and sees the best in everyone, which is exactly why I fell for him. We were having the perfect Friday night face masks, foot soaks, and binge-watching The Crown with my mother-in-law Maggie in our downtown Chicago apartment. Then Ben's phone lit up with a message that made my blood run cold. "Ben, babe, why aren't you answering me? I just posted a new video. Remember to like it for me. My TikTok is Bunny Loves You. What about you?" I scrolled through their chat history and found messages from just 2 hours earlier. Someone calling herself Little Bunny was playing a very dangerous game, and she had no idea she just declared war on the wrong woman. The earliest message was from that afternoon. "Ben, babe, I'm home now. Thanks for driving me back. But being alone at home makes me scared. Ben, baby, we've only been apart for a little while, and I already miss you so much." My husband either forgot to respond or didn't read them. Either way, he hadn't replied. Honestly, even through a phone screen, I could practically smell the desperation radiating from these messages. The fake sweetness was nauseating. Calling my husband Ben babe, how cringy could you get? I felt goosebumps of revulsion. I knew immediately there was some shameless little homewrecker out there testing the waters with my man. My husband, Benjamin Parker, is tall, lean, with classic good looks, basically the perfect rich second-generation heir. Right now, he was wearing the matching pajama set I'd bought us, carrying a fruit platter for me and herbal tea for his mother as he walked into the living room. "Who's this little bunny?" I pointed at the messages and asked directly. My mother-in-law heard this, spun around immediately, and glared at Ben. "Victoria Chen, my high school classmate. We randomly ran into each other last month." Ben confessed honestly. "So why is she texting you with gross messages like Ben babe? I don't even call you that." I shot my husband a look, my voice carrying a hint of hurt. "Ben, how do you know this girl? I'm about to lose it." My mother-in-law didn't mince words, delivering a swift smack to the back of Ben's head. Ben, startled into full alertness, immediately sent a voice message right in front of us. "Stop calling me that. I'm married, and you're affecting my relationship with my wife." Victoria sent a few more messages, but Ben ignored them completely. "Son, I've told you countless times not to randomly add people on social media, especially women. Be careful of scammers who'll take your money and leave you counting the bills." My mother-in-law launched into her standard lecture. "It's not that serious. Mom, she's just a high school classmate I sat next to. We hadn't seen each other in years. She's just a bit clingy, constantly messaging, but I've been too busy to respond." Ben replied innocently. I opened TikTok and found Victoria Chen's video posted just 2 minutes earlier. A woman with long black hair, a delicate face, and heavily filtered features sat in my husband's luxury car. Showing off in her video, she deliberately revealed the license plate and half of Ben's face in the shot. What kind of little bunny? I see a gray wolf. What the hell is she posting? "Son, you deal with this right now." My mother-in-law grabbed Ben's phone, watched the video, and her face darkened with anger. "Let me explain. Honey, she's a pharmaceutical sales rep whose company partners with our hospital. I happened to run into her when I was leaving work late, and since it was so late, I gave her a ride home. There's really nothing Ben frantically tried to explain. Why did you let her sit in the passenger seat? Don't you know that's Sarah's seat? A married man needs to maintain boundaries. Look at her showing off in that video. Is she trying to catch a sugar daddy or what? My mother-in-law grabbed Ben's ear and scolded him through gritted teeth. She said she gets car sick and couldn't sit in the back without feeling dizzy. The passenger seat seemed harmless. Ben mumbled, "Car sick my ass. Mom can tell she's doing it on purpose. Listen to me. That girl has bad intentions." My mother-in-law roared. Ben feared his mother most of all and quickly promised never to let anyone else sit in my seat again. Look at her, obviously the type of woman obsessed with status. Ben, tell her to delete that video immediately. If outsiders see it, they'll think she's my daughter-in-law. My mother-in-law watched a few more of Victoria's showing off videos, concluding that she was indecent. Mom, the video doesn't say I'm her boyfriend. It's just sharing a ride, Ben said naively, not understanding the issue, but he still obediently called Victoria immediately. Hello, Ben babe. What the hell did you post on TikTok? Delete it right now. What if my wife misunderstands? Ben didn't let her finish, cutting her off sharply. I sat watching the comments under Victoria's video. Is that your boyfriend? He's so handsome. Is that a Bentley? Congratulations, Bunny, on finding a man. Particularly telling was Victoria's reply to one comment, not successful yet. That line was very interesting. Who wasn't successful yet? The guy who hadn't hooked her, or her not landing the rich man. On the other end, Ben wouldn't listen to Victoria's explanations and hung up abruptly. Honey, Mom, I'm not close with her at all. She says we're classmates, but I forgot about her ages ago. The only reason I pay attention is because her company partners with our hospital. Otherwise, I wouldn't care. Ben explained to me and his mother, be careful of these scheming girls. Especially her pretending to be innocent when she's really a seductress. My mother-in-law snorted coldly while Ben nodded vigorously. Honey, I trust you. I smiled brightly, looking straight into Ben's eyes. Ben was touched and repeatedly swore he wouldn't get entangled with Victoria again. I checked Victoria's TikTok account and saw she'd made the video private. Then she posted a status, "Someone's too busy to care about me." What a performance! The next day, my mother-in-law bought me the latest designer handbag to cheer me up. My husband brought me flowers and personally cooked dinner for me. I felt both warmed and reassured. My husband was definitely trustworthy. Ben and I met through a matchmaker arrangement. My mother-in-law, Margaret Parker, runs the Luxe Aesthetics plastic surgery chain throughout Chicago. The name might be a bit flashy, but branches span across the entire Midwest. She divorced when Ben was 5 and raised him alone. From having nothing, she washed dishes, opened a small business, went through bankruptcy, and eventually became a renowned female entrepreneur. You can imagine how hard she worked. She's strong, independent, opinionated, and very understanding. Ben grew up with his mother, and despite experiencing hardship, was raised as a naive, kind-hearted rich kid with average abilities, a soft personality, and a tendency to be easily influenced. He absolutely obeys his mother. The first time Mom set up a blind date, he met me and fell in love immediately. No exaggeration, he's exactly the love brain type. I liked him too. My mother-in-law adored me, so both families cooperated. We dated for 6 months, then registered for marriage, but we haven't had the wedding ceremony yet. Ben and I want a simple wedding, but my mother-in-law wants to give me a grand ceremony to make up for the regrets of her youth. No wedding dress, no ring, no blessings. She truly treats me like her own daughter, sometimes even favoring me over Ben. She often complains that Ben is useless and easily deceived, telling me to keep him in line and not let him make mistakes. I just laugh. Before, when friends told me about their mothers-in-law, I always said the phrase treating daughters-in-law like real daughters should just be taken as a joke, not believed. But after the little bunny incident, I know my mother-in-law only recognizes me as her one and only daughter-in-law. I'm the refined type good wife material, but I'm no pushover. Ben likes my personality a bit strong like his mother's, but still gentle. I pulled out Ben's high school graduation photo and compared it to Victoria's selfies on TikTok. Turns out she'd been into beautifying herself since school days. Her school uniform was tailored to be form-fitting, and she wore trendy hairstyles. Oh, right, I remember now. Her desk was always full of love letters and snacks. She was always making me do things for her so annoying. According to Ben, Victoria was the school beauty back then, a bit arrogant, with many male students pursuing her. Ben was a short, chubby, dark-skinned kid back then. Because they sat together, she treated him like a servant. I had to admit Victoria was smart, recognizing that Ben had transformed from his awkward teenage years into someone completely different, like night and day, under the guise of pharmaceutical marketing. Victoria frequently visited our hospital looking for my husband. She should have been going to the pharmacy department, but instead kept lingering around Ben's office. I found a medical receipt in my husband's vest pocket. Honey, why do you have a registration slip from Chicago General Hospital? He hesitated. Yesterday, Victoria came to our hospital, and when she was going down the stairs, she twisted her ankle. I happened to walk by, was going to ignore it, but she called me over. So, he'd been so adamant about not caring about her before, yet still got pulled in. I smiled lightly. You did a good thing. How could I be mad about that? Seeing my expression hadn't changed. He breathed a sigh of relief, but I'd already planned to meet this Miss Victoria face to face the next day at lunch. I went to the hospital to find my husband. As soon as I walked in, I saw a woman standing next to my husband, acting so clingy she was practically glued to him. I walked over. She clearly hadn't recognized me yet, thinking I was just someone passing by. Bambaba, are you free for lunch? Let's eat together. Thanks for taking me to the hospital yesterday. Her voice was sickeningly sweet, not even bothering to glance at me standing right next to my husband. She even shot me a hostile look, seeing me arrive. My husband immediately took my hand. I told you not to call me that, I remember. We're the same age. I'm not free. I'm having lunch with Sarah. He put his arm around my shoulder and even shuddered like he had goosebumps. Only then did Victoria notice me. Starting to look me up and down, I also cooperated by examining her, then looking down at myself. I was wearing a simple top, comfortable pants, carrying an unbranded bag, with just foundation and light lipstick, clearly not as polished as her. She wore a Chanel-style blazer dress, high heels despite claiming to have a twisted ankle, long smooth black hair, careful makeup, and carried a Chanel bag though it was an older model. Are you Ben's friend? Can I call you sister? She pursed her lips coyly, pretending to be confused while we stood there hand in hand. This is my wife, Sarah. She's 2 years younger than us. My husband stated it directly and firmly. I smiled politely and greeted her. Victoria feigned disappointment. Why did Ben get married so young? Sister Sarah looks older than us. Excuse me. She looked much older than me. I shot her a look. My husband couldn't hold back either. You're the one who looks old, with eyeliner thick as a cow's. lips red like you've been eating raw meat, foundation caked on thick, and obvious crow's feet. You look older than my mother. My wife's name is Sarah, beautiful as her name suggests, and naturally gorgeous without makeup. Maybe you should come to our clinic for some anti-aging treatments. I'll give you a 20% discount. Victoria's face practically collapsed. I almost burst out laughing. Actually, she was only around 26, 27, not really old, just had high cheekbones that made her look a bit harsh. We stood outside the hospital for quite a while. My husband was decisive. We're leaving now. No need to pay for the medicine, it wasn't much. Also, you're raising your eyebrows so much your eyes are twitching. I couldn't help but laugh. Clearly what she thought was flirtatious eye contact looked like nervous tics to my husband. I turned back to look at her, and she raised her head defiantly, challenging me with her gaze. I thought to myself, is she planning to openly play the mistress? I stood on my tiptoes and gave my husband a light kiss. Honey, you're so good at defending your wife. Who else would I defend? You're my most precious wife. Mom also said I have to protect you and not let you suffer any grievances. She thinks Victoria was trying to say you look older than her. She's just jealous of you. My husband rarely spoke this much. It seemed my mother-in-law's teaching was quite effective. Victoria and my husband followed each other on TikTok, which I had arranged. She frequently sent him private messages, but she didn't know that I managed all his accounts since he preferred gaming to watching videos. So all her flirtatious messages were pointless. I posted some couple photos of us declaring my territory. I also mentioned that we'd be dining at Alinea tonight, one of the most expensive restaurants in Chicago. With her pharmaceutical sales salary, I figured she could hardly keep up. I hoped she'd know her place and leave my husband alone. But we'd barely sat down when Victoria appeared. She was dressed elegantly, walking gracefully, with a server gently calling after her, "Miss, you haven't made a reservation." Her friend was being dragged along, looking very uncomfortable. What a coincidence. "Ben, you're eating here too." Victoria cheerfully addressed Ben. Obviously, she hadn't given up. And again, she completely ignored my presence and the server. I signaled the server to step back temporarily. "Victoria, Her friend tugged at her clothes. Speaking quietly, Ben frowned at both of them, probably wondering why he kept running into Victoria lately. "I already told you not to call me that. Are you deaf?" My usually gentle husband was getting annoyed, especially with me sitting right beside him. "Miss Chen, are you and your friend here for dinner? The molecular gastronomy here is quite innovative." I smiled and made recommendations. Victoria completely ignored me and was about to sit down right next to Ben. I was about to remind her that seat was taken when my mother-in-law emerged from the restroom. She immediately sneezed upon catching a whiff of Victoria's heavy designer perfume. I quickly handed her a tissue. My mother-in-law clearly recognized who this little bunny was, shot her son a meaningful look, then sat down. "Waiter, what kind of establishment are you running? Why are you allowing strangers to disturb our meal?" On the surface, she was scolding the staff, but really she was looking at Victoria with pure disdain. "Finished with your greetings. Don't disturb my mother's dinner." Ben looked seriously at Victoria. "Auntie, I'm Ben's classmate from high school. We used to be very close. We were desk partners." Victoria refused to leave, trying to sweet-talk my mother-in-law. "I've never heard my son mention having a desk partner like you. Aren't you leaving?" "Planning to freeload dinner." My mother-in-law's tone was sharp and direct. Unexpectedly, Victoria's face was thick enough that she still persisted. deliberately making her eyes watery as if she was about to cry while looking at my husband with infatuation. Both the server and I became spectators to this drama. Even my mother is telling you to leave, and you still won't go. Don't you know shame? Red eyes for what nobody's bullying you. My husband didn't understand subtlety, but still casually responded while peeling shrimp for me. I nodded, eating shrimp, calmly watching Victoria like she was a clown. Her friend looked like she wanted to drag her away immediately. Sister Sarah, Ben is just being shy. He used to write love letters to me in high school. It's just that I was focused on studying, so I turned him down. Victoria played her trump card. Ben almost jumped up. No way. Sarah. Those were letters from other people that I helped deliver. I calmed Ben down, then turned to Victoria. Miss Chen, you and your friend should go eat. Your friend looks anxious. I showed no jealousy whatsoever, and even warmly invited them to stay for dinner. I've met plenty of women like you. Thinking a bit of beauty means you can seduce my son. Ridiculous. My son has a wife sitting right in front of you. If you had any shame, you'd disappear. My mother-in-law may not be highly educated, but she's worldly. Her words were a bit crude, but not wrong. Auntie, Ben, everyone's misunderstanding me. I just wanted to reminisce about old times and discuss business. Sister Sarah seems to have misunderstood me. I have no intention of destroying anyone's family. Victoria spoke as if I was the petty one who couldn't handle other women approaching my husband. Not here to destroy. Planning to insert yourself then, girl, you've watched too many soap operas. Are there still people volunteering to be mistresses these days? My mother-in-law mocked her. I don't have any old times to reminisce about with you. If you want to discuss business, find Department Head Liu. Sarah isn't petty at all. I love her personality the most. My husband and mother-in-law joined forces to shut Victoria down before I could even speak. Her eyes welled up with tears. Just short of shedding some crocodile tears, people around us started looking and whispering, going around destroying other people's families and then playing the victim truly shameless beyond words. The three of us remained unmoved. Finally, Victoria was dragged away by her friend. Of course, they didn't order anything. Oh, Miss Chen is leaving, not trying the food here. I maintained my elegant smile. Victoria turned back and glared at me. The food here is terrible, only idiots would eat here. My mother-in-law laughed mockingly. Then why did you come here? Deliberately, coincidentally running into my son. I've never seen someone this shameless before. Such an act. Her friend was so embarrassed. She just wanted to drag her away immediately. Son, if you ever mess around and get involved with someone like that, I'll let Sarah take all the family assets and leave you with nothing. My mother-in-law suddenly became serious. Mom, I only love Sarah. Don't worry. My husband beat his chest in assurance he knew his mother meant what she said. She hated people who destroyed other families most of all. Victoria went on TikTok Live, crying about how her boyfriend's family hated her, and she was being bullied by her boyfriend's sister. The boyfriend's sister was both ugly and bitter, probably bullying her out of insecurity. To make matters worse, she claimed she lost her job due to sexual harassment from her boss. She cried like a pear blossom in the rain, yet her makeup remained perfectly intact. This earned her quite a few sympathetic followers. She spoke vaguely, never revealing who her boyfriend was. Just a few blurry, barely visible photos. But she let slip that her boyfriend was a high-level administrator at a major plastic surgery hospital, which coincidentally matched my husband's position perfectly. Viewers began remembering the previous photos of the man in profile, and started competing to criticize the wealthy for looking down on ordinary people. Victoria didn't correct any of this. I watched, feeling utterly embarrassed. Could the boyfriend she was talking about really be my husband? And was the sister being vilified actually me? Had I become the evil villain? I touched my cheek, thinking, Victoria really is a master manipulator, acting like it's natural. Her job loss was 8 parts due to my mother-in-law's intervention. My mother-in-law's hospital was a major client of the small company where Victoria worked. One word from her was enough to get Victoria fired. My husband was disgusted when he saw her live stream footage. I told him to check which hospital department heads had been in contact with Victoria, like Department Head Lou. I didn't believe someone as calculating as her could work seriously and honestly. Soon enough, I ran into Victoria again at Millennium Pharmaceuticals. She'd been hired there. At the time, I was wearing sunglasses, yawning and stretching as I walked into the restroom. She was reapplying her makeup. When we met, both of us were surprised. I was amazed she'd found new employment so quickly at such a large company. She was shocked to see me dress so casually, yet daring to work at a company full of beautiful women. She was all dolled up like the receptionists and sales staff, head held high, speaking through her nose, while I looked completely out of place. Millennium Pharmaceuticals is a major company in Chicago. I work as an accountant here. I'd just passed my CPA exam and had a decent income, but I preferred comfortable clothing. Oh, it's you, too. Victoria snorted dismissively. Ben is so handsome and his family has money. Why would he marry someone so plain and ordinary? Maybe he likes inner beauty, I replied calmly, thinking to myself, I'm attractive in a refined way, and while I don't wear elaborate makeup, I'm hardly ugly. You're not worthy of Ben. If you knew what was good for you, you'd step aside before you're abandoned and humiliated. Victoria put away her lipstick, her eyes full of contempt. Where did she get such arrogant confidence? I should return that advice to you. My husband loves me very much, as does my mother-in-law. You've met them, what more is there to say? You're dancing around in front of me. But who do you think you are? I shot back. You... just wait. Ben has liked me since high school. He just doesn't dare show it because of his mother. I shook my head, feeling like Victoria was delusional. Victoria and I worked at the same company, encountering each other frequently, but treated each other like strangers. Every time I dressed up a bit more, changed my handbag, or wore jewelry to the company, rumors would spread that I bought knockoffs, wore fake items, and was a pretentious, despicable woman. I looked at the limited edition Hermes bag in my hand, bewildered. Before Victoria arrived, there had never been these types of rumors. I was in the bathroom stall when I heard several women whispering. My hand froze on the door handle. What's Sarah Mitchell from accounting's background anyway? How did someone like her even get hired here? Victoria's voice rang out. Who knows? I heard she's young but already has a CPA license, probably fake. Just like those designer handbags of hers. The speaker was Miss Wang, the treasurer and my colleague. I'd never known she disliked me this much, but I've seen men in expensive cars picking her up after work. Someone else chimed in. Probably being kept by some old man. Look at the stuff she carries. It looks very authentic. Yeah, I saw Sarah get into a car with a middle-aged man with a beer belly. Victoria spoke in a suggestive way. I was so angry I kicked the stall door open. Victoria Chen, you can eat carelessly, but you can't speak carelessly. I stared straight at her, warning her. That was Mr. Lee, my family's driver. Victoria averted her eyes, not daring to look at me. The others clearly didn't believe me. But I wasn't interested in arguing with them. I turned and left. Everyone was dressed flashily, dreaming of seducing the big bosses in the company. They never looked at their own capabilities. Victoria quickly climbed the ladder at the company like a kite in the wind. She came from sales background with a smooth tongue, just never said anything pleasant, always targeting me. She and Ms. Wang would gang up on me whenever they saw me. I thought, sooner or later I'd get rid of these two. My background wasn't as small as they imagined. The malicious rumors about me were quickly quashed. When my husband came to pick me up, Victoria would often deliberately detain me, then rush in front of him crying about various grievances. Colleagues frequently saw them standing together in the underground parking garage. That day, I'd just stepped into the parking garage when I heard her voice. "Ben, why are you so cold to me? You weren't like this before. There was never anything between us. Are you crazy?" When I wasn't around, my husband was very decisive. Lately, I've noticed Sarah is very close with the boss. They often have lunch together. Victoria began sowing seeds of doubt about me. "Which boss? You mean that tall, handsome guy, Wade?" My husband worried, because Wade was a college friend who used to pursue me. "Honey, you're here. I'm running a bit late." I appeared just in time, afraid she'd make up stories that would cause misunderstandings. "I heard you two talking about Wade. He was transferred to our Detroit branch last month." I laughed. "Oh, it's nothing then." My husband opened the car door for me, completely ignoring Victoria's attempt to ask for a ride, and even glared at her. "Liar," I heard him mutter while looking in the rearview mirror at Victoria's twisted expression. Near my birthday, I received a large bouquet every day for a week. They included my favorite Juliet Rose's flowers symbolizing pure and sincere love. The card read, "For my princess, your loving Maggie." Flowers arrived 7 days straight. Colleagues gathered around to look every day. "Sarah, did your boyfriend send these?" "Wow, so generous. They didn't know I was married." "No, probably just someone pursuing me." I smiled mysteriously, copying Victoria's hint-dropping style. Sure enough, I saw Victoria's face redden with anger. Victoria immediately texted my husband to report on me. On my birthday, I received a giant rose teddy bear. Ben took my hand in front of the crowd. Honey, I'm here to take my wife home." "Honestly, you could have just sent the gifts home." I pretended to scold, but my eyes were sparkling with joy. He was helping me save face. The company had been gossiping that I was being kept by an older man, so he publicly declared ownership. "Wait, isn't he Victoria's boyfriend?" I saw Victoria talking to him in the parking garage. "Why is he calling Sarah his wife?" Someone wondered aloud. Victoria's face looked terrible, staring at Ben like she'd been abandoned. I smiled coldly. "He's Victoria's high school desk partner, childhood sweethearts." "Ms." Wang said half-heartedly. "Ma'am, spreading lies isn't okay." Ben turned sharply, cutting off Ms. "Oh, Wang. Oh, so it's not a love triangle." A colleague muttered. "Sarah and I have been legally married for a long time. As for that high school classmate, that's ancient history. There's never been even half a relationship between us. Don't keep bothering me or texting me anymore. I will never betray my wife." He pointed directly at Victoria, speaking with righteous authority. Victoria was exposed in front of everyone, her face ashen, unable to say a word. "Oh!" Everyone understood, looking at her with meaningful expressions. "But Sarah, you're clearly married. Yet you were accepting flowers from admirers before. What a shame for Ben, he treats you so well. How could you, Victoria, refuse to give up? Pretending to scold me for being unfaithful. Oh, colleagues seem to remember that incident. My mother sent those. What's it to you? My mother treats Sarah like her own daughter, spoiling her like a princess. Are you jealous? My husband looked at her with contempt. Our wedding is in 2 months. Everyone remember to attend. I smiled and announced, my husband took out the wedding candy and invitations we'd prepared, distributing them right in front of Victoria. I smugly took my husband's arm and left the company under everyone's envious gazes. That evening, I had a wonderful birthday. The happier I was, the more miserable Victoria became. She thought my husband would be like her previous boyfriends, easy to seduce, but she was wrong. This time she'd hit a brick wall. But it didn't end there. Victoria was fired again, along with the treasurer from the finance department, Miss Wang. She could hardly rise in this industry anymore. Mrs. Wang had always been a lazy worker who specialized in gossiping with Victoria and was the one spreading rumors about me. Turns out she was Victoria's relative. It was through this connection that Victoria got into Millennium Pharmaceuticals. The day she was fired, Victoria stormed into my office, screaming that I was getting revenge on her. That's right. I am getting revenge on you. You dream of stealing my husband who could tolerate that. I sat in my chair, speaking casually, I'll sue you. I'll make Ben see your true selfish, petty, jealous face. She took out her phone to record video. What was she thinking? She hadn't even passed her probation period. Firing her wasn't illegal. Victoria, even if your husband works at the hospital, she doesn't have the power to fire us. Right? Ms. Wang didn't believe I was behind this. It was me. I didn't want you two staying here anymore, so get lost. I said arrogantly. Victoria went crazy, starting to trash my office and even tried to slap me. Fortunately, security and management arrived in time to stop her. I smiled and gave orders. Call the police. Also report to the entire industry to help other companies avoid trouble. Also, have her pay full price for everything she damaged after taking inventory. If she keeps causing trouble, sue her directly. Victoria's rampage attracted a crowd of onlookers. Sarah Mitchell. You dare. You evil bitch. I'll fight you to the end. Obviously, she never expected me to be so ruthless. Miss Chen, please leave here. Regarding your defamation of Miss Mitchell, our company has collected sufficient evidence. If you continue to cause trouble, see you in court. The manager said, Victoria was speechless. Think I have no power? I do. This company will be mine. Eventually, my father is the largest shareholder. I whispered in her ear, successfully silencing her. She thought I was just an ordinary woman lucky enough to marry Ben Parker. I graduated from a prestigious university, have a certified public accountant license, interned at my father's company, a perfect match for the Parker family. I wasn't worthy, but her someone from a small town, ordinary background, only a high school diploma, she was worthy. These days, still talking about matching social status, wanting to be Cinderella marrying a rich man. What qualifications did she have? Beauty fades, but substance lasts forever. Victoria was too confident in herself. My husband was his mother's darling with a weak personality if his mother didn't approve. He'd never love her. My mother-in-law adored me and was extremely protective. Ben was devoted to his wife, seeing me as his true love. Victoria never had a chance. Victoria left Millennium Pharmaceuticals with a gray face, her eyes full of hatred before leaving. Victoria began retaliating against us. First, she stormed into Lux Aesthetics Clinic with her phone live streaming, crying and choking up. She accused my husband of deceiving her feelings. Everyone, this is Lux Aesthetics Clinic. Ben Parker and I were high school sweethearts who reconnected after many years. Even though he's married, he was still ambiguous with me, drove me home, took me to the hospital, cared for me. I thought he wanted to rekindle our old romance. I never expected that after the truth came out. His mother and wife not only humiliated me in public, but also got me fired. My friends, I'm just an ordinary girl from a small town who studied hard to integrate into Chicago, hoping for a better life. I work exhaustively from dawn to dusk, yet his mother had me fired. Not stopping there. After I struggled to get into Millennium Pharmaceuticals, they still wouldn't let me go. It turns out it was all arranged by Ben Parker's wife, Sarah Mitchell. She deliberately slandered me in front of colleagues, then had her father fire me again. My husband led security to interrupt Victoria's live stream, causing the camera to shake. The video captured Victoria's resentful, unwilling, and painful voice, and my husband's angry, annoyed voice when falsely accused. Before my husband could explain, Victoria had already ended the live stream. I watched the comments under Victoria's TikTok account, being cursed by her shameless words and netizens who didn't understand the truth. I just felt that shameless people are invincible. Victoria's stunt not only affected Lux Aesthetics Clinic, but also caused my father's Millennium Pharmaceuticals stock to drop. Both companies' reputations were damaged. My husband smashed his phone after watching the video. My father also called to ask about the situation. Dad, don't be angry, no matter how shameless Victoria is. She can't turn black into white. We've never done anything wrong to her. It's all her own drama. I comforted both dad and husband. To restore our reputation, I posted Victoria's messages deliberately seducing my husband online, along with video of her causing chaos in our company. Victoria immediately denied everything, claiming we edited the images to frame her as if only she had a mouth. My mother-in-law immediately opened a TikTok account to support me and my husband and analyzed Victoria's face from a professional perspective, suggesting she should get plastic surgery because not every woman was worthy of my husband. Thanks to my mother-in-law's sharp, humorous comments, she became internet famous and even made it to trending topics with the hashtag #GoodMother-in-law, netizen spokesperson. Additionally, thanks to my mother-in-law's youthful face that looked like she was in her 20s despite being over 60, she also became a hot topic of discussion. She was extremely business savvy, using this opportunity to promote Lux Aesthetics Clinic. Switching to live stream sales, and bookings skyrocketed. Meanwhile, my father and husband quickly had the PR department get involved. In a short time, public opinion began turning in our favor. Some rational netizens stopped believing Victoria's one-sided story and stopped criticizing us for using power to oppress her. I also released Victoria's dirt online. She only had a high school education, had previously pretended to be a rich girl to hook wealthy men, had many ex-boyfriends, and had stolen her best friend's boyfriends multiple times. Her private life was chaotic. Her previous boyfriend was a gambling addict who borrowed money in her name, and she still owed up to $1 million. She just wanted to dig for gold. Her former best friends also came forward to expose hers. The situation reversed, and Victoria finally had to face the consequences. Faced with the obvious truth, she was forced to delete the videos slandering us, then got banned from the platform. Victoria finally disappeared from our site. My husband also blocked her WeChat and phone numbers, but I knew she wouldn't give up easily. Ben received an invitation to his high school reunion. He attended high school in a county near Chicago, then transferred to the city for senior year, though he didn't remember his classmates well. There was one close friend who had helped him when he was bullied. He and this friend hadn't met in a long time, so Ben agreed to go back to the county for the reunion. I was busy with work and couldn't go with him, but I knew Victoria wouldn't miss this opportunity. Before Ben left, I stood on my tiptoes and kissed him. "Don't drink too much. Give me your friend's number. I'll check on you anytime." He promised not to drink excessively and obediently gave me his friend's contact. When the reunion started, Ben video called me. I saw Victoria surrounded by men like a princess. She'd just been attacked by netizens, yet recovered so quickly, truly a master. I wasn't reassured. Ben was well behaved but honest, no match for Victoria. I contacted his close friend. "If Ben gets drunk, please take him to Hotel XX near the reunion venue." I asked him not to mention I arranged it, saying I wanted to surprise my husband. After handling work, I persuaded my mother-in-law to come with me to the hotel to pick him up. My mother-in-law said, "Ben is an obedient boy. He won't do anything wrong," but she still couldn't resist my nagging and agreed to come along. I trusted Ben, but rather than wait for Victoria to make her move, I'd better deal with her myself to avoid long nights and many dreams. I knew that with Victoria's scheming mind, she had a dozen ways to get someone else to bring Ben to the hotel. I told the front desk that if anyone brought someone named Ben Parker, to direct them to the room I booked. Chapter 10. Justice Served. The scene before us was exactly like catching adultery in the act. Victoria was lying on top of my husband, hair disheveled, nightgown askew, looking utterly wretched. Seeing us burst through the door, she panicked and backed away, her face pale as a sheet. My husband lay motionless beneath her. I immediately pushed Victoria away. My husband's face was flushed red, with lipstick marks on it, clothes disheveled, looking like he'd had too much to drink. No matter how I called to him, he didn't respond. My mother-in-law immediately pounced on Victoria and slapped her twice. "You shameless woman! How dare you climb into my son's bed? I'll beat you to death! You corrupt women only know how to target married men." Victoria cried like rain, sobbing while defending herself. Ben couldn't control himself. "Whoa!" I immediately called the police and ambulance. Victoria kept crying as if she were the victim, blaming everything on my husband. But I trusted my husband, so I'd requested comprehensive medical tests for him. Normally, my husband was socially active with a good alcohol tolerance. It wasn't easy for him to get so drunk he'd act crazy. The test results quickly showed my husband had been drugged. Based on the test results, DNA comparison, and nearby camera footage, police determined Victoria had put illegal drugs in my husband's drink, nearly causing him to die from drug shock. My mother-in-law was so angry she wanted to attack her again, but right then Victoria suddenly collapsed, clutching her stomach in pain. She was immediately rushed to the emergency room, and what shocked everyone was she had a miscarriage. She was pregnant, so her plan was to drug him, create a false scene, make us misunderstand that my husband had betrayed me, then use pregnancy to force marriage or demand benefits. But clearly my husband had been unconscious and couldn't have created life from afar. And she, due to her promiscuous lifestyle, miscarried due to her habits. The doctor also said Victoria's uterine lining was severely infected and needed cleaning, but her uterus was too thin, making future pregnancy very difficult. Everything she did was for money. wanting to live a luxurious, carefree life. But in the end, it all backfired. After recovering, what awaited her was prison. I didn't witness the moment police handcuffed her, but I could imagine her complete collapse. The next day, my husband didn't wake up until noon. I really don't know what happened. I only remember having a few drinks, then falling asleep. I don't remember anything else. When he woke up to his mother's stern face and my emotionless expression, he was confused. I quietly showed him the video of Victoria that had just been posted a minute earlier. He was stunned. I hugged him and said gently, "I trust you." Any sensible person could see he'd been set up. In that condition, how could he force anyone? Epilogue. Perfect wedding. Our wedding day finally arrived. My mother-in-law prepared a grand and magnificent ceremony. The alliance between Lux Aesthetics and Millennium Pharmaceuticals couldn't be casual. Not only did friends and family from both sides attend, but many influential figures from Chicago also appeared. I wore a pure white wedding dress covered in sparkling diamonds, standing far away watching the groom nervously and excitedly searching for me. I felt so happy I could cry. The ceremony went smoothly. I asked my husband, "Why do you love me so much?" He answered very practically, without hesitation. "You're beautiful and well-connected, highly educated, and Mom likes you too." What more could I ask for? As for Victoria, she didn't even finish college, completely unworthy of me. Later, we learned that Victoria had repeatedly taken bribes and even had inappropriate relationships with department head Liu to boost her pharmaceutical sales. She was sentenced for criminal charges. The three of us, me, my husband, and mother-in-law, worked together perfectly to send that disgusting woman to prison. On the surface, it might seem like we were bullying her, but if she hadn't actively caused trouble and done wrong, she wouldn't have ended up this way. Not long after the wedding, I became pregnant. My husband and mother-in-law were as happy as children, constantly hovering around me. My husband loves me. My mother-in-law protects me and those women who tried to destroy our marriage. They all failed. The end.